Hi, Heather here. Today I'm going to teach you how to make my Grandma Bertha's apple pie. But first, let me tell you a little story. So she was born in 1913, and by the time she was maybe 15, 16, 17, she was working for a farmer and his wife as a cook on a big farm, and she used to make 20 pies a day. So the farmer was really nice to her, but his wife was mean. So my grandfather also worked at that farm, and he said to her, "Let me take you away from all of this." So they bought my great-grandfather's farm and had a dairy farm for years and years and years. And she used to make us the best food and baked goods. So that's why I want to show you what I learned from her. And I think I was in my 20s, maybe mid-20s. But I said to her one day, "Grandma, I gotta get a man." And she said, "Heather, you need to learn how to bake a pie." And she said that that is the way to a man's heart. So I'm gonna show you how to do this. So first of all, I took 8 or 9 apples and I peeled them and sliced them, and I sliced them pretty thin, as you can see. They're pretty thin. Put a little bit of lemon juice on them just to keep them from browning, but they are starting to get brown. All right, so what we're gonna do is we are going to add, her recipe calls for 3/4 cup of sugar, and I use slightly less, so we're gonna put that on. And then we're going to put in a couple of shakes of salt and some cinnamon. And I don't know how much, just dump it on. I'm using my hands, I hope you don't mind. And I did wash because I learned that this year in 2020, it's important that we wash our hands. Just kidding, I already knew that. All right, so that mixture is done. To make the crust, it's the Crisco pie crust. My grandma had her pie crust a little bit different. She used 2/3 cup of butter flavored Crisco, and I go for the 3/4 just because it's easier for me to handle. So that's what I have here. Okay, so here's my 2 cups of flour. Dump that in. And then I have my 3/4 cups of butter flavored Crisco. That in. So you just mix this in until it's all crumbly. So that's pretty good, nice and crumbly. And I'm super messy when I bake pies, but I don't care. Okay, a few shakes of salt. And I don't really know what the measurement is, just shake. Oh, and I forgot to do something. Every time I make a pie, I always say, "Grandma, please help me with this. Make it taste as good as yours." And I've had some real flops, but they've always been good. And this spoon my grandma gave me, I always use this when I bake my pies. It has a D on it. My grandma's last name was Earl, and I always thought that was strange, why she had a spoon with a D on it. But I figured she used to go to lawn sales and pick up all kinds of stuff, so I figured that this is where it came from, the lawn sale. One day my Aunt Joyce, Dolly, was over, and she said, "Hey, where'd you get that spoon?" And I said, "From Grandma." And she goes, "Oh, that's mine. It has a D, Dolly." But anyway, she ended up letting me keep it, and I'm glad she did, because this is my favorite pie baking spoon. So, okay, so we have the flour and the Crisco and the salt, and then ice water. And by the way, that the Crisco I've had in the refrigerator cooling for a few hours now. So we're gonna take some water, not getting any of the ice. And I'm getting some of the ice. So there's 5 tablespoons. Let's see what that turns into. Looks pretty good. I might do one more for good measure. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I'm going to make these. I'm separating the dough. I'm going to make these as even as I can. Okay, so I'm going to save that for the top layer. I just try to cheat a little bit. I'm really not great at this, but it is fun, and it does make me think of my grandma. So just roll it out. Do this nice and gently. Not turning out so well today. That's okay, it's gonna be good. Okay, Grandma, I'm gonna need your help here.
Let's try that again. Patience, my friends. If at first you don't succeed, try again.
Okay, so that's all rolled out, and I'm going to attempt to put it in the pan without ripping it. Whoops, I just ripped it. My crust last week was perfect. This one is a little tough. So, but that's okay. Okay. Then we're just gonna push it down here in the pan. Don't worry about all these little rips. Nobody is going to know, except for you and me. Okay, so I'm missing a big piece right here, as you can see. I'm going to get my water, and I'm going to patch it. So, just put a little piece there. I'm sealing it with water. All right. And then I just want to make sure that there's a little bit of overlapping crust everywhere. Here's another repair that I have to make. And another repair, I'm just sealing that. So it's all, as you can see, not beautiful, but nobody's gonna know. Just wanna make sure that's all sealed up. Okay, now I'm gonna grab my apples, give it another stir with my hands. So Cortland's are my favorite, and then Macintosh. They both make a really good pie. I'm sure there's other kinds, but this is the kind my grandma always used to use, so of course it's my favorite. I'm gonna pour these into the pie. Trying to fill in all the spots. Make it kind of even. I don't know if it really matters, but that's what I'm doing. All right. So next, I'm gonna find my favorite spoon. Where did it go? It's my favorite spoon. I'm going to put 2 more tablespoons of water on top without ice. Okay. And then I'm gonna put about a tablespoon of flour on top. Oh, wait. Put some more cinnamon on it. I just put a nice layer of cinnamon. I covered all the apples. Okay, and then I'm gonna put about a tablespoon of flour on top. I think that's a tablespoon, not really sure. Apple pies are pretty forgiving. Okay, and I have 4 pads of butter. So as I was telling you that my grandma told me that if I wanted a man, I would have to learn how to make an apple pie. So I did it. I met a guy, made him an apple pie. Everything was going great until he got one of my hairs in his mouth. It was baked in the pie. So he like dumped me like a hot potato. So just so you know, make sure that your hair is pulled back tight. Hopefully this one works a little bit better than the last. Okay, top layer on, and I did forget to do something, but we can do it now. To seal the pie, I just want to wet down the crust between the 2 layers, get it sealed up. And it's easier if you do it before you put the top layer on, but I forgot all about this part. Okay, next, I'm just gonna take off the longer edges. Okay, and then I'm gonna pinch the 2 crusts together just to seal in all that goodness. And I'm gonna attempt to turn it under, both crusts under. My crust is super tender today and it's tearing on me, but this is still gonna be yummy. And at this point, you can go around the edge with a fork to make a pattern. My grandma taught me this thing like with 2 fingers and a thumb, just to kind of crinkle it. Okay, so now that I have it all sealed up, I'm going to bake it for 15 minutes at 400, and after those 15 minutes, I'm going to turn the oven down to 350 for 30 minutes. My mom brought me a big bag of apples, and I knew exactly what she wanted me to do with it, so she's coming over tonight, and we'll have a nice little treat. So I'm just making some pork holes here before I put it in the oven. It's ready to go in the oven. There you have it, folks. Granny Bertha's apple pie. Yum, yum, get in my belly.